Senator, you are recognized for 5 minutes.
Wonderful, thank you. Good morning, Chairperson Fudge and subcommittee members on elections. Thank you for the invitation to address you this morning. During my 9 years as a state legislator, I have been actively engaged in improving Arizona election laws. I evaluate bills based on 4 criteria. First, does it enhance and protect the integrity of elections? Second, does it empower voters? Third, does it enable voter participation? And finally, does it improve the maintenance and consistency of the administration of elections? To be clear, I do not believe election policy should be a partisan issue, and I have a strong history of fighting for these principles that often cut across partisan lines. For example, in 2012, I championed legislation that required all candidates to run in the fall of the even year, when turnout is strong, an obvious win-win for everyone. After the presidential preference election debacle in 2016, brought up several times this morning, when there was mass voter confusion and unacceptable wait times to vote, I convened a special meeting of my elections committee to question then Secretary of State and then Maricopa County Recorder, both fellow Republicans, to understand what happened and who was responsible. And in 2017, I held the Republican-controlled Maricopa County Board of Supervisors accountable after learning that they were operating under an outdated intergovernmental agreement from 1955, allowing the board to abdicate many of their important statutory obligations regarding the administration of elections. These are just some of the many examples that demonstrate I have a strong and unwavering, nonpartisan advocate of fair and impartial electoral process. Arizona is and has been on the forefront of efforts to increase voter turnout and participation, all the while protecting the process from fraud. Sadly, as the saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished, resulting in some of those efforts to increase voter participation, specifically the enactment of mail-in voting, to be abused by ballot harvesting. My bill successfully banning the practice of ballot harvesting, which allows third parties to collect or harvest mail-in ballots of individual voters, is a major step forward in maintaining the ability of Arizonans to participate in the electoral process via the mail without fear of it being manipulated. Many political operatives and activists criticize this common sense prohibition, claiming it unduly burdens voters by making it more difficult to return their mail-in ballot. This claim is simply not supported by the facts. Arizona's mail-in system is a voluntary one, whereby voters voluntarily elect to receive their ballot via mail, fill it out, and return it within the generous 27-day early voting period. And it is counterintuitive to think that a voter would sign up to participate in a process presumably for its benefits, and in this case for the convenience of having their ballot mailed to them, then criticize that very process as burdensome when mailing it back in the prepaid envelope that accompanied their ballot. Again, it is difficult to believe someone who uses the mail to pay bills and send and receive other correspondences would only struggle when it came to mailing back their ballot and not struggle with their other mail. Mailing a ballot back is not the only option available in Arizona. Arizona allows for many other methods to return a mail-in ballot. However, opponents of my anti-ballot harvesting bill continue to argue that the bill burdens voters, despite the fact that in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decision upholding the law, they note, and this is important, they note that not a single voter testified at trial that HB 2023 made it significantly more difficult to vote. In fact, the bill was in place for the 2016 elections when voter turnout was a roaring 74%. Voting by mail is only one of the many options available in Arizona. It is easy and convenient to vote in the state of Arizona. If you are not voting, it is because you have chosen not to. Arizona should be commended for adhering to its constitutional responsibility of enacting laws to secure the purity of elections and guard against abuses. That's in our Constitution, often in the face of unsubstantiated and frankly offensive claims of voter suppression and racial motivations. The proponents of ballot harvesting have failed. They have failed to provide any meaningful evidence, statistical data, or direct testimony during the legislative process as well as the bench trial that breaking the chain of command and entrusting a third party to collect a voter's mail-in ballot is in the public's best interest. We are unfortunately forced to conclude that only outside forces and special interest groups have a vested interest in protecting the practice known as ballot harvesting. We as legislators cannot allow for the potential of lost ballots, undue influence, and fraud to taint our electoral system. Voting is the most direct method to impact government, and the process should be protected to ensure voters have confidence in the system and its outcomes. And I ask you, what is the outcome of an election worth if nobody believes in it? The risks are high, and our democracy is only as strong as our fair and open elections. The solutions, painfully simple. Secure our elections, protect the process from cheating, and enforce our current laws. My bill banning the practice of ballot harvesting gets us one step closer to that ultimate goal. Thank you, committee members.
Thank you.